let's start out by talking about the new dispatch arrangements
Yes.
in Hamilton County. There is some history to this.
Yes.
I remember this being discussed years ago, right? And maybe even beyond that, I don't know. But now the change has happened, and I thought it would be a good time to talk more about it, what actually has happened, and where do we go from here?
Well, like you said, when I started this position, it was been told to me that it's been a 30-year process to get this merger completed. Essentially, the citizens of Hamilton County, Webster City, aren't going to see any change except the people who answer the phone will be different. That's it. They're going to be at my office versus Webster City. The dispatchers, we've hired 2 more dispatchers to cover the traffic that Webster City produces. 2 have came from the city and work with us now, so they just kind of transferred out here, but they had to get rehired, different retirement systems, all that good stuff. Otherwise, the citizens aren't going to see much of a change. The same number that you have always been used to, 9166, can still be called. It is not the preferred number, but it'll still work. Okay.
Now, when you say that number, okay, I'm going to give it for example.
Yep.
All right. That's obviously not the number to call when you need emergency service.
If you need emergency services, call 911, and that has never changed.
I was driving around a couple weekends ago trying to find the new location for the brush site.
Okay.
And I was not finding it.
Yeah.
And I called 9166.
Yep.
And the person there, at the time it was still at the city, helped me figure it out.
Yep.
So those sorts of calls.
So what'll happen now is during the business hours, so 8 to 4:30, whenever they have their admin assistant there, they'll still answer the phone down there. If you have a normal admin call like that, okay? What you'll get is an automated system where if you want to talk to dispatch, you'll press 1, I believe it's 1, and then it'll transfer out to us, no matter when you call, okay? 9166, if you want to talk to the chief, the admin assistant, it's 2 or 3 on the list, and then it'll ring into them. It's not going to be much different. I know people think it's going to be a big change, but a lot of people don't realize what services we were each doing already. I've had a lot of misnomers come into me to think that 911 is also taken down there, which it hasn't been since Hamilton County built their jail. So it's not going to be that big of a change once we get going. It's just kind of the hiccups and bumps and bruises along the way, getting everything up to speed on the same page with the PD and the sheriff's office.
And again, this is only for Webster City.
Yep.
This doesn't make any changes for anyone outside of Webster City that are within the county.
Because they're essentially, their services aren't changing. How they do things doesn't change. The people within Webster City, if they have an alarm system set up where they call the city number, like let's say an alarm goes off or it's triggered, they have a call to the PD. Now you'll want to call and get that changed to the sheriff's office. But usually the alarm companies do that on their own sometimes, but just call to verify they do that just to be sure.
We're going to talk about that in a minute too, because I see on Facebook you just asked for some new business information. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the business line, I guess we'll call it, the non-emergency line. I think that also gets used a lot, and I'll use myself as an example. When the power goes out at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. I would call 9166 and they would tell you, yep, we know about it, or thanks for calling, we'll let them know. Now what?
Same thing. Nothing changes for you. I believe
but if you can, transition to the new number.
The new number, I think it's 8636. 8636 is the new number. But if you call, either one you call, you're still going to get a dispatcher. They're still going to give you the same information. They're still going to contact, let's say if power goes out, they're still going to contact the line department. Everything doesn't change for the citizen. It's just a matter of where the phone is ringing to. That's all that changes.
Okay. Why did this happen?
The Webster City PD had an audit at the beginning of the year. After they had some changes happen at the beginning of the year as well. Had a consultant firm come in and they decided that the dispatch center was kind of a redundant aspect to the citizens and their services they were getting. At that time, myself and Acting Chief Eric McKinley, talked about it, and we were given the option to keep pursuing it, and we did. And Supervisor Rick Young also was involved when Police Chief Hansen got hired. He was on board with it, and it just made sense because, for the lack of better terms, they're paying for 2 dispatch centers. They were before the citizens of Webster City. and now they're only paying for the one. I cannot speak on what's going to happen to the taxes, but just know that your tax dollars aren't going to be redundantly spent on 2 dispatch centers anymore. It's only ours. And then
so fiscally,
it made more sense fiscally.
On paper, it looks
yes.
more sensible.
Yes. And we are one of the smallest counties in the state of Iowa, and I would even say the United States, that had 2 dispatch centers anymore. That's just not a thing that happens anymore. It's all, and I hate to say it's even regionally based, where dispatch centers are in, like, they carry 4 or 5 counties sometimes, which I don't ever want that to happen to Iowa. I want to keep ours local on that. But Webster City having their own was very special to Webster City. And I can understand why people didn't want it to leave. I get it. I mean, I understand. But this is also the way things are going. It's faster. It's quicker. For example, a 911 call. Let's say Kent calls 911. There's an accident in Webster City. Before the merger, he'd call 911. Our dispatchers would answer it. Our dispatchers would then have to tell the Webster City police officers and their dispatch center. And then their dispatch center would then call their officers out. And then we would then do the page for an ambulance or more officers. So now we've cut out the middleman completely. You call 911, we dispatch everybody. We dispatch the police officers, the ambulance, the fire truck if it's needed. We dispatch everybody. So it just kind of takes out that extra step that's just not, it's not needed anymore.
So in theory, does that mean that our response time could
That's my
will
hope.
improve?
The reality is yes. We work with great services here in this county. But there's also very few. But we need more volunteers in the small towns. We need more people coming to do these jobs. So the quicker we can get them out there, like the response times, the quicker we can get the pages out there, the quicker we can get the ambulances out there, the better. So that's one of the reasons why public safety was #1 on this whole thing. And that's, to me, that's the most important thing. So that's why it happened.